Welcome back. Now, do you share your bank account with your partner or do you keep everything separate? From secret accounts to the receipts you might hide from your husband or wife. It could be a minefield in any relationship. So how do you handle it when your bank accounts get married too? Well, here to give us some great advice is money expert Heidi Armstrong from moneytolove.com.au. So what are the stats saying? What are couples doing these days with their money? Are they marrying their money when they get together too?
Well, it's really quite interesting because Finder did some research and discovered that 2/3 of Aussie newlyweds are saying, you know, we don't need to combine our finances. We're very happy having separate bank accounts. And that's really quite different to certainly what I've experienced, but also if you think about baby boomers couples, typically about 51% will share and have a joint bank account. Gen X, you're looking at 39% of us, and Gen Y, 29%. So there's really this generational shift. And people are just saying, we don't need to do it. And, you know, I think about, well, why is that? You know, why are people these days not wanting to share their bank accounts? And I think a big challenge is that home ownership is, you know, so far out of reach for a lot of people, and it's a real big stretch. And really, nothing like a mortgage to really bind you together financially.
Don't you think we've learnt financial independence is the way to go as well from our parents?
Sorry, Jo, but we were talking earlier. In my marriage, I was not financially independent, and it really, you know, I'm still recovering from that because my generation did share, and it's very tough. And I would be teaching.
My wife and I have a joint bank account, and we share management of it. I put the money in, and she takes it out. So, what are the pros and cons of having a joint bank account?
Well, I think it's interesting because, as you were saying, you know, you can have this joint bank account, but at the same time, there's not necessarily genuine engagement by both parties. And I think we all know somebody who says, oh, I do all of the work and my husband doesn't even look at it. But I think we need to be able to really be responsible and have communication, talk to our partners about, you know, money in, money out. And it's not to say having a joint bank account is the only way to do that. Certainly you can have separate bank accounts and you can have those responsible conversations with with separate bank accounts. But it does bring up the question of secret spending. And 31% of all couples do some secret spending. So I think there might be some confessions here. Anybody want to confess?
Well, actually, Jess Rose away today, so...
She might be a confession.
Well, I've got a question for you because money can be such an issue that divides couples too, especially if there is that secret spending. When is the right time to have that conversation? A lot of us are getting married older. We're used to having our own money, spending our own money, doing what we want with it. When is the right time? Is it before we get married, when we're engaged?
It's definitely before. Maybe not the first date, because I think that can be a little insensitive. Saying, great steak. Hey, babe, how much do you earn? But I think certainly even on that first date is when you get tips and insights about the other person. I mean, even just asking what sort of car they drive, I think that can tell us a whole lot about each other. But I think the sooner the better, and you've really got to start having those conversations early if you want to not just be romantically compatible, but financially compatible as well.
So what happens if it all falls out? What are your tips for handling that?
Well, to avoid it all falling out, really you need to be responsible. You need to share the responsibility of managing your finances, and you need to communicate. A budget's a really great idea. And for people who are perhaps in a relationship for the second time around, then coming into that relationship, sometimes there's an uneven distribution of people bringing different assets in. Really good idea is to make sure you have your assets valued right from the get-go, once you start commingling your finances. Because unfortunately, if it doesn't go well, and we hope it goes well, but if it doesn't go well, that's when a court's going to say, well, what did you bring to the relationship at that time?
Sounds very romantic, doesn't it?
Oh, no, sorry to end on that.
No, for more great money advice, you can go to the website moneytolove.com.au. Heidi, thanks so much for joining us.